We were all cherry-cheeked anime fans at some point. Sadly, that time usually ends with a bang. It's time for bad anime shows to get what they finally deserve. No matter how many episodes or how bad it is, I'll prevail and beat them all. It's time for Undroppable. It's time to hit the playground, so grab your crazy bones and Pokemon cards, cause school's in session, the time for kids to be kids, and where else to have a gander back at those days than in the controversial anime Kodomo no Jikan, airing in the fall of 2007 and produced by former Studio Barcelona, now Studio Media, and is one of the last two anime to be produced while still Studio Barcelona, adapting the manga by Kaoru Watashiya, which ran in the magazine Comic Eye from 2005 till 2013. An English release of the manga was meant to hit the US, and to be brought out by 7 Seas. It will be released under the title Ninfette, with the title having the blessing of Kaoru herself. However, due to rising controversy over the later content of the manga, as well as vendors dropping orders left, right and centre, the English release was never realised and dropped by 7 Seas, with no indication since that any other English manga producer is willing to bring Kaoru's work to the English people, with Kaoru herself saying how issues with the second manga volume showed her how different the two cultures are, ending her statement on the English release with a simple, "It's unfortunate, but what can I do?" But why is it such a hot topic for us Western folk? Well, first let's drop this down and head on, shall we? The story in a nutshell is our main Aoki starts work as a teacher at an elementary school. That's primary school for us non-American folks. Upon getting his dream job, he runs into a troubled student, Kokonoe Rin, who then begins to take an interest in him, pretty much bullying his ass to see what kind of teacher he is. Then later we get more and more into her developing feelings for him, and we get things with Rin's guardian and how he thinks Aoki is just out to get some sweet lolly ass. We also get issues with growth spurts at a young age with Usamimi, and that one kid who is always too busy with her phone and looking like a dressed up little doll than actually learning with Kuro Kagami. I'm not gonna lie, the first episode of this show is phenomenally tense. The way Rin has Aoki wrapped around her finger with a single sentence was brilliant, as it's very true what she says, even though she has faked herself being sexually harassed by Aoki. One scream from her and everyone will believe her over him. A very good play on how trusting we are of children, and skeptical of adults, especially when dealing with a delicate issue such as this. If the rest of the show kept this high tension, it would have been amazing, but sadly it does back off for the more comedic side rather than the serious side, still providing some good parts, like how all these kids have to do is look pleading and say a nice word and people instantly become non-hostile towards them. They do go back every now and then to the more serious tone later on with Reiji, who is Rin's cousin turned guardian, but not really hitting the super high tension of that first episode. You don't have to be a lolicon to enjoy Kodomo, but it helps. All joking aside, the story's more serious parts are really good, due to the parallels that can be drawn to real life from them. The comedy, while funny, can get a bit one note after a while, with most ending with a simple, "Ha! Aoki's a lolicon," then a swift kick to his nuts, usually by Kuro. Most of the cast outside Aoki and the main three are not all that explored and given very little development. They do get more adding to them in the OVAs that make up the show's second and third seasons, but also they do get more risque in the fan service, from Rin breastfeeding from Usa, all the way to Usa getting a more descriptive lesson on how to insert a tampon than it needs to be. The fan service and subject matter make this a very uncomfortable anime for people to go near, which is very understandable, as if people aren't comfortable with it, then I'm not going to ram it down their throat. However, if this has interested you in searching this out, then give it a go. There are far worse things. However, if you don't think you're fine with the content as I've disclosed, then don't watch it. So yeah, this one ends up being a really mixed bag, as it's very interesting because of the themes it talks about, but then also not for everyone due to the themes it talks about. A lovely catch-22 if I ever did see one. The way it went around discussing these themes maybe could have been done differently, but I don't really know, as perhaps this serious turned comedic story is the best way to explore this theme, but who can really say? So hopefully I won't have to do more of these controversial ones for a bit, but either way, I've got to go trade back my shiny Charizard from some kid, so I'll see you in the next Undroppable.